What is going on? I lost my voice, so bear with me, Jets fans. This is the post-game show and everything NYJ. I'm Italy Jet, and this is Harrison Glaser, my boy. How are you doing?
Oh, dude, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing absolutely awesome. I mean, a win is a win. Even Zach Wilson in his interview, he called it an ugly win. I have a totally different perspective, man. I
You do?
feel much
Okay.
better about this game than a lot of people did, and I can't wait to talk about
Okay. Well, let's talk about it. Let's go to the highs, the lows, defense, coaching, offense. Let's start with the offense with Zach Wilson first. We'll start with Zach. What'd you think? I think he did there.
Yeah. So, and Zach, I loved it, man. He came out absolutely dynamic. That flavor in the offense that we felt like we were missing, right? Like I pointed out
Yeah.
during the week, I think you pointed it out too. We were talking about it when I had
Right.
you on my show, and you nailed it right on the head. You literally
Right.
nailed it. You were like, with Zach, Elijah, and Berrios were all part of that offense, and it just
Yeah.
disappeared when Joe was there. I was hoping that was going to change. I expected it to change, and man, the
Right.
offense looked good. I mean, problem was the offensive line. It's makeshift right now. I mean, you got to work with what you can work with. I mean, our offensive tackle situation is like a freaking Greek tragedy, bro. Like Shakespeare couldn't write this shit. Like it's crazy.
Oh,
So like, I mean,
that's
it's
so
a
true.
makeshift line. Obviously AVT at left tackle, and just to talk about that quick for a second, the beat reporters and writers asked Robert Saleh at the end of the game about ABT playing at left tackle, and I love it. I put it out on Twitter. He had a little smile, and he's like, "Yeah, sorry, I kept that from you guys." But I'm like, dude, I fucking love that, dude. I love right, like that's what you want. You want your team to be creative, to be adaptive, to do something that no one sees coming. They didn't expect
Right.
that. That took their whole freaking defense through a loop. Their coordinator's like,
Agreed.
okay, whatever we had, throw that shit out. He's over here now. That was big, so that was awesome. AVT there. Herbig had an okay game. Again, the line struggled, especially Max went out. I mean, that was prayers go out to Max, man. I mean,
Dude,
watching
I am
that live,
so
they
mad.
didn't show a
I'm
replay, thank
so
God,
mad.
because it didn't look
Yeah,
good. But
it
watching
didn't
it
look good at
live,
all.
from what I saw, he looked like he immediately clutched his left knee, and it looked like his left leg either bent backward or to the side. It bent in like a weird angle. So not good, not good at all. I'm hoping he's going to be okay because he's a freaking bright spot of that line. Like that guy is a future stable piece of our offensive line.
I agree. He stepped up in a big way on that right side. And also, we just can't catch a break. The Jets can never catch a break when it comes to injuries, when it comes to things going our way, and just everything else. It's always been up and down for us. The fact that Mitchell went down, it's a lot of people were like, even going into the third quarter, it's over, it's over, it's over. And you know what? It looked like it for a while, just a little bit, because if Lawson didn't get that penalty, Trubisky would have still been in the game, and Pickett wouldn't have come in the game. I think when Pickett, things started to change for them. What do you think about Pickett today?
Yeah, no, I could not agree more. And that's kind of, again, a different take. Not saying it was a great win, obviously, not saying it was like the best performance ever, but I feel like the
Right.
numbers don't tell the whole story. I feel like, again, Zach coming in, I felt like the offense came alive, man. Like I felt, the guys that were getting open were getting the ball, even though the offensive line wasn't looking as great at times. He was dynamic. He was moving around a lot. He was getting open in the pocket, making throws outside the pocket. And when needed, he was throwing the ball well with a lot of velocity, accurately, and his mobility showed, man, that he's healthy. And he said the same thing in his interview. He said he didn't even think of his knee once. Like it never even came into
Wow.
his mind, which is awesome. So he's back. He's at full health. Man, the offense looked dynamic. And at the end of that first half, like you were saying, everyone was like, oh, man, we got the 2 interceptions. But it's like, hold on. That first one, even the announcers pointed it out. That was a great play by the Steelers D. They blanketed their
Right.
safety. You have to keep in mind, people forget that Zach doesn't have the upper camera perspective. He's
Agreed.
standing back there with freaking 6'6" offensive lineman in front of him. He couldn't see the safety where he was. He made a throw. It was a bad read. Didn't work out. And then the second one went right through Conklin's hands. Like that shit was crazy. Like that, it was a little high, but it hit your hands. You put your hands
Yeah.
up, it hit your hands. That's it. I don't put that on Zach at all if it touches your hands. Like that's it. So Well, I don't blame him at all. I felt, again, he looked dynamic. We see Elijah coming alive. Berrios obviously coming alive, throwing the touchdown to Zach. Like, that was electrifying. I'm like, man, he looks good. You said so many people, getting down. Man, they came back. They came back and they won. And again, it wasn't pretty, but when needed, he made excellent throws, excellent timing, great tempo. Yeah. Just awesome, man.
I think it also comes down to it when it comes to he threw a couple interceptions. One, I don't think it was his fault because of Conklin. And I think for me, Zach Wilson, the way he throws it, he needs to stop pump faking. Like, stop with the pump faking. Just throw the ball. And not only that, like, he would throw it up here. Okay, he wouldn't throw it right here. My problem was stop throwing it over up here. That's why Corey Davis had such a big game today, because he's tall, he can get up there. But I think if he can just correct that a little bit and stop with the pump faking, and you could tell he was struggling because he didn't scramble as much as you think. He just wasn't scrambling. My bad. Okay, my bad. He was scrambling, but he looked very uncomfortable. He just looked very uncomfortable at times. Once he gets that rhythm back, I think he'll continue to just get better. But we got to fix the old line. If Mitchell's going to go out, who is going to step up and be there? I know we signed Cedric. I know we signed Remmers. I know McDermott played, and we were all like, "Oh God, McDermott."
But if I can, circling back to Zach for a second, because again, I felt like, again, I'm a big fan of Zach. Watching him in college, watching the way he plays, he's my guy. Really is. I felt like I saw what I needed to see. Again, it's his first game back. Right. It didn't seem like the knee bothered him at all. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't scrambling a lot, but you don't want him to scramble a lot. I mean, you want him to, stay in the pocket and make good throws. I felt like he escaped when he needed to, stayed in the pocket when he had to, tried to, hold himself in the pocket, even when that pocket was collapsing on him. I mean, I liked what I saw. I did. I know the numbers don't show it. The numbers don't look as good, but you mentioned it. Some high balls. The velocity of the ball is different when he throws it from when Joe does. Right, so maybe that's going to be an adjustment. There were a lot of drops as well. I, again, really don't put it on him. I feel like, again, he wasn't perfect by any way, shape, or form, but I feel like the drops, the offensive line specifically killed us. And again, it's a makeshift line, but it still killed the momentum. Like, I put that on Twitter too. Felt like that kept killing through pretty much through the whole third quarter. Felt like that offensive line was killing any kind of momentum we gained. Like, Hall would get a run and then Zach would get sacked, or they would get a big throw and then he has to scramble out and no one's open because they didn't have time to get open. There was no time to create separation. So I agree. Rich is pointing it out. There are things that need to be worked on, but a lot of positives. Man, I feel like Zach, for a first game back, I really liked what I saw. Again, poised in the pocket, moving around, moving out when he had to. It felt like when he needed to, he made really good, accurate throws on time, and he breathed life into the offense. Like, this offense came alive, man. And he talked about it in his interviews. They asked Zach about it, and I could, bring it up right here just to share with you guys. After the game, we got it right here, Zach was saying things like he feels like he has a bit of a different mentality this year. He's saying he's going to give it everything he's got, do his job and live with the result of what happens. He said, he felt like the offense and this is what I thought was interesting. He felt like the offense for the first time, he said, for him, didn't feel as stagnant or as timid as it had been in the past. I thought that was very interesting. And then they asked him about, his message to the team the whole game. And he was just saying, trying to give those guys some juice, always, tell them to keep fighting. We're battling together. It was that very consistent message of togetherness. Like, we battle together. We keep it going together. We came about together. We were all on the same page. And again, the mentality, his mentality is just keep doing my job, keep chipping away. Relaying that message to the team, and everyone just keeps fighting. So, I don't know, man. I again, it wasn't perfect by any way, shape, or form, but I know a lot of people felt differently, but I liked what I saw in Zach Wilson. I thought, again, excellent throws, excellent timing, stepped up when he needed to. It felt like a lot of times in the second half that he, unfortunately, like we saw last year, that he wasn't the problem, that the offense was struggling more around him.
I couldn't agree with you more. But I also was impressed with Corey Davis. I think a lot of people were like, "Hey, it's just Corey Davis. Everyone's focusing on Moore and Wilson." But you know what? When it counted, that's his buddy. I mean, that's why I have the picture on in the background. That's his buddy. Like that's one of his guys. So I was very impressed to see what Corey Davis did this week. I'm very happy for him. We'll get to the comments now. Richard Vasquez Jr.'s got 4 of them. It wasn't pretty, but I'll take it. Hey, me too.
A win's a win, man.
A lot of positives today. Definitely a lot of positives, a lot of negatives. And then have to continue to work. Couldn't agree more. And the last one for him, we have a legit chance next week. And you know what? With Tua being out, Teddy's good, but you never know. I mean, now that we have Zach, it's like it fixed that O-line a little bit, and then Olbrook with the defense. You never know. You never know. I hope they just rock it next week. But let's talk about the defense now, Harrison. What do you think about the defense?
Yeah, and same kind of thing. The pivot on the defense. You mentioned it. The offense for the Steelers totally changed when Kenny Pickett came on the field. Totally changed. He was making his throws. They looked more dynamic. Trubisky was bad. He was really, really bad. And the offense was stagnant because of it. And I was even pointing it out. I was like, our pass rush is looking good, but we do have to remember this is against a really bad offense. I mean, for the first 3 weeks, the pass rush wasn't there. I'm excited it's there now. I'm hoping that this momentum's going to carry over because, man, they were killing it. Like, for the first game, they were legit killing it. Like, they were in the backfield the whole game. And 2 guys specifically, Quinnen Williams, who's having an underappreciated year. He needs to be on the field a lot more, totally having a Pro Bowl year. And the other guy, Bryce Huff. Dude, Bryce Huff and Quinnen Williams, I felt like they were in the quarterback's face the whole game. They were consistently creating pressure. My message, I put it out on Twitter, Bryce Huff can never be inactive again. If you remember, I'm a huge fan of this kid. I love Bryce Huff, man. I'm a huge fan of him. I've had him on my channel before. I loved what he did at Memphis. I really was excited when he came to the team. Man, this whole season so far, he'd been inactive. And earlier in the week, I think it was like a couple of days ago, I finally had enough. I put out, I was like, Bryce Huff's getting disrespected week after week. Jets have to make him active. Let this guy eat. Well, they clearly made him active, and he freaking ate, man. He was amazing. Carl had a really good game too, except for all that penalty. Like that penalty, and that's just the perfect example of when a veteran makes a bad mistake, it's compounded if it's something that can cost you the game. Like we were at one point, it's like, okay, we're down by 3. But if it weren't for Carl, it would be tied. So that was really big.
I couldn't agree more.
That was.
But I couldn't agree more. It's just it's like with Jordan Whitehead. It's like
the safeties too, man. Yeah.
I mean, Joyner. I'm shocked with Joyner. Like, let's be.
I think Joyner's shocked. I think Joyner shocked Jets Twitter. Jets Twitter was like, wait,
everybody. What the hell?
Dude, it's crazy because I mean, if you remember, like, I think it was, shout out to you, I think it was Paul, Boy Green. He put out a video earlier in the week of Mike Tomlin praising our safeties. And we're like, wait a minute.
That doesn't sound right.
Do you mean Sauce and DJ?
Sound right.
Wait a minute.
Right.
But, dude, they were awesome. Freaking Joyner, 2 interceptions, key ones. Freaking Whitehead had an interception. Man, our defense had 4 interceptions this week. That's huge. Like, and that's the thing. You talk about the defense. Yeah, they had some trouble at times, but the pass rush was consistently there all game. We walked away with 4 interceptions. Man, that's a great defensive game in my book.
Yeah, I'm happy Abby is shining on this because she told us on Monday and no Friday.
Whether Joyner was gonna have a good game?
Yeah. And I'm like, Abby, all right, you know what? I'll give you your props, Abby.
Well, if you remember, bro, earlier in the season, like I was excited when Joyner was going to be healthy. They were talking all this great stuff, how we had, this veteran duo in the backfield there because Sauce and DJ were young guys. I even pointed out, I remember looking it up. Joyner, when he played safety exclusively before this year, he had like a 90 PFF. Like he'd been great at safety before this. So I was like, man, he's going to be really awesome. And he was struggling. Like that surprised me. I really expected him to be like he was today throughout the season. But man, if this is the beginning of it, I'll take it, man. I'll take it.
I'll take it every day. I'll take it every day. And then, Abby is all saying he's a ball hawk.
But he was when he played safety. If you watch the
Yeah,
footage back with the
yeah,
Rams and
yeah,
stuff,
you're
I
right.
really like that about him. Like
Yeah,
when we signed him last year, I was excited about him playing safety. And even this year, I was excited at the beginning of the season. And I was like, okay, I'm eating some crow because our safeties kind of suck. Jordan
right,
Whitehead wasn't playing well either. But man, they kicked it
right.
up today. They really, really kicked it up.
I was really happy for them, and not only, I mean, even Whitehead. I mean, Kwan, just that hit Kwan did. Holy crap! Like he nailed Harris to the ground, and Warren too. I was like, we need. I was talking to my buddy about it. I'm like, we need to sign Kwan for more years. Okay, he's
If the
just a
dude can stay
freaking
healthy, that's
beast.
been his biggest
Yeah,
problem. Like when
I
he's
understand
healthy, he's
that.
one of the best linebackers in the NFL.
Agreed, agreed. Do you think we will? And how did you think he played?
I think it honestly, and I don't blame Joe Douglas for doing it this way. He's under contract for the year. So my answer is let's see how he stays. If he can stay healthy, he's got to stay healthy. And if he can prove that he can stay healthy, hell, I'd pay him. I would absolutely pay him because he's showing what he's shown in the past. That when he's healthy, he is one of the best linebackers in the league in coverage and hitting and tackling, just everything. So
Right.
I think that's the approach Joe is having, and I don't blame him. We got him locked down for the year. Let's see if he can stay healthy. I mean, I don't want to jinx anything, but God forbid he can't, then you wouldn't maybe want to bring him back. But if he can prove he can stay healthy, I would totally bring him back.
And do you think how do you think Sauce and Reed did?
I thought
Even
they were
Carter and
good.
Eccles. Even
Yeah, I
Carter
thought
and
they were
Eccles.
good, man. I thought they were really good. I mean, they had a couple of good plays. They didn't do anything huge that, like I think fans were looking for. Like they're just now after the first 3 weeks, they're just looking for Sauce and DJ to just be highlight reel machines. I mean, they were good. They didn't put up any crazy plays, but they were good.
Mm. I love that. I love that. How do you think the front four did?
Defense or offense?
Sorry, defense.
On defense, man, same thing. Like our defense, you and me talked about it. It's
Right.
predicated on the pass rush. Like we've been lucky this year because our corners have been so unbelievable on their islands and lockdown that our defense has worked without a pass rush. But it needs this. Like it needs. And this week, finally, it happened. I mean, again, I look at it as okay. It finally happened against a pretty bad offensive line and a pretty bad offense in general. But I want to see that continue. Like that's what I want to see. I want to see what we saw today continue because they got constant pressure all game. They were constantly in both quarterbacks' faces, hitting them a lot. But man, can't undersell Quinnen Williams and Bryce Huff. Like those two guys, like literally every play. Like I'm cool if they play every snap from here to the end of the season.
I you said Quinnen, right?
Quinnen and Bryce Huff, man. They just looked unbelievable, man. And Huff, like I've been again saying it, like I couldn't believe he's inactive all these weeks, and they're saying it's because we have all these edge rushers. Yeah, but none of them are freaking producing. Like for 3 weeks, you're not getting
Right.
sacks, so you got to change it up. And man, Bryce Huff's so talented. Love the potential of him, man. I think again he didn't. Did he even get? I got to look it up now. Did he even get credit for the sack? I think he got credit for a bunch of
Nah,
pressures.
Quinnen got the
That's what I was gonna say.
Quinnen
So
got
it's the
it. Yeah.
same thing. It's like with numbers, right? You look at numbers, Zach had a bad game. You look at numbers,
Right.
Bryce Huff wasn't there. But that is far
Right.
from the truth. Both of those are not facts.
Right. I agree with you. Do you think so? Abby's got some comments for us. Um, let's see. Sauce is a gem. I say we draft one more corner. I don't know. I like Eccles and Carter. So I don't know. I think we're good with the four. Even Bryce Hall. I think Bryce Hall is just not getting the credit that he deserves. I think he'll come up eventually. Are we a top 10 defense?
We can be if the pass
We
rush
can,
can get there. Like
yes,
that's the
yes,
key. It's got to stay consistent. If that pass
yeah,
rush can do from here on out what it did today, then man,
right.
Sauce and DJ's got it on lockdown. Michael Carter's got it on lockdown. Same thing with the safeties. If the safeties can keep playing like they did today, yeah, that could be potentially a top defense. But those things have to keep happening.
Yeah, I agree with you. What do you think of? I don't know about Zach. I'm trying to be positive about
And
this. I mean, I think that's everybody. We're all trying to. We all want him to be the guy, right? So I think that's just everybody. we have an underrated defense. Yeah, I think we're underrated when we're hot. When we're hot. But if we're bad, we're just bad.
Yeah, and on that, Abby, because Abby quickly, she brought up, with the comment, I don't know about Zach. It's understandable when you look at the numbers. Like, you look at the numbers, there were a lot of drops. The completion percentage isn't that high. There were interceptions, but like we were talking about, the interceptions, one was a really bad read and an excellent play by the Steelers defense, one right through Conklin's hands. But again, I just felt like when he needed to be, he was accurate. He was poised in the pocket and scrambled out and made good plays out of the pocket when he needed to. He kept the offense alive, even though, as we mentioned, it felt like the offensive line was trying to take that away. It's a makeshift line, but it kept sucking the momentum away from what was being built. Again, first game back, right? First game back. You got to almost consider it like week one for Zach Wilson in a way. I liked what I saw. And I feel like, man, if the offense can just keep clicking, I really like what I saw in him. I feel like I saw what I needed to, in my personal opinion.
Do you think Ulbrich did the job today?
And see, that's the $1 million thing. Like, I mean, this week it was great, but we did play a really bad offense. Like, I put that out right in the beginning of the game. I want to get the exact number. I'll give it to you right here, because it was one of the first things I was thinking. Is I was like, okay, the Jets offense has not been good, like, for the first 3 weeks. It's been okay. Right. The corners have been good. So where is it? I have it. So I looked it up. I found out that the Steelers had the 5th worst passing offense and the 9th worst rushing offense going into week 4. So I was like, the defense has to show. Like, if the defense doesn't show, then that's insanity. So the defense showed, but again, it's against a bad offense. So my big take is just consistently keep doing that. Like, maybe the momentum is there now, so the pass rush will keep producing. The safeties will continue to play well. I feel like, I mentioned with you, I thought the linebackers were underappreciated, and they've shown that. I felt like they were underappreciated, and it was because the pass rush was so bad. It was the same thing I said last year. The linebackers in this system can't work with a bad pass rush. It just doesn't work. If they have to play cleanup, it takes away the assignments they're supposed to have. That's why everyone's like, Quincy last year and CJ had like 1 million tackles because they were playing cleanup in 50% of the games. Like, it was crazy. So, man, I think the linebackers are underappreciated. The corners are good. If the safeties can keep playing like they did today, pass rush can keep playing like they did today, we got a defense. And then Ulbrich, they won't be calling for his head anymore.
And it's just really interesting because I think overall, I agree with you. But what do you think about them putting Shepard in? Do you think that shouldn't even be happening?
I love that you brought that up, because, like, I was legit thinking as I'm watching him, like, there was so much going on. I was literally going to tweet it out, but I chose not to. I was literally going to tweet out, is anyone else annoyed that Nathan Shepard is in the game? Like, I swear to God, that was going to be the tweet, and I just didn't do it. I didn't put it out, but it was going to be, is anyone else annoyed that they're seeing a lot of Nathan Shepard at the end of this game here? It's this rotation, and a lot of people are saying they hate it. I mean, if Quinnen and them keep eating, I say let the starters play more. I mean, it didn't work weeks 1 through 3. It seemed like the guys that we expect to eat, Quinnen was eating. Same thing, we're seeing a lot of Nathan Shepard. I'd rather see more Solomon Thomas. I'd rather see him in there on the middle.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, if it were up to me, Nathan Shepard wouldn't even be on this team. So,
I agree with you. It's just, like, so I was bringing, my man's in here. All right, here we go.
Oh, awesome. Good stuff. Give me 1 sec. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
What's up, Jet Italy? How you doing, bro?
Dude, I'm doing good. Dude, I'm sorry about the link. Sorry about that.
No, for some reason I pulled it up on Google, but it wanted me to join through Chrome. So I had to figure out how to get it from Chrome. So that was the issue.
StreamYard is like, it's like it only lets you use Chrome. I tried to do it on Safari and it wouldn't let me.
So,
exactly.
Actually, what's weird is I was on his show last night. Safari was the only one that let me go on his. But for me with StreamYard, I have to go on Google. Google Chrome won't do it for me on here. I don't know why. It's so weird.
Wow. Yeah, that is, man. That is, guys.
What's going on, man? Nice to meet you, bro. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. We came away with the W, guys.
Yes, we did.
Got it.
My goodness.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It was ugly though, right?
Yeah. It was ugly. Tell me what you thought about today.
Well, for one, I was really irritated with that Zach's first interception before halftime. I thought it was just a bonehead play. From the play calling and from Zach's execution. I'm like, dude, we're in field goal range. Do a draw, maybe a halfback dive, inside zone or something. Just run it and kick the field goal. Going to halftime, 13-3. So once I saw the interception, I was like, here we go, man. And of course, to put more injury onto that, Carl Lawson had the penalty, and they end up making the field goal, made it 10-6. So at that point, I'm saying to myself, okay, here it comes. Here comes the Jets magic. but, but man, yeah, I was rubbed the wrong way, guys. I'm not lying. I was like so irritated, man. But the last couple of minutes of the game, they changed my perspective. I still see a few things that we need to work on, man, collectively. Yeah. But the team is young. You can expect them to make, mistakes and not dominate against a team so well disciplined with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So yeah, great win at the end of the day, man. No matter how ugly it was, we came home with the W, and I'm thankful, very thankful for that.
Man, it's important. And we're 2-2 now, man. That's a big deal. 2-2. We're kicking ass in the AFC North right now. Like This is really awesome, man. 2-2. Mm-hmm. If we keep this up, we're playing Miami next week. Heck, we could be 3-2.
I think so too. Man. I don't want to see anybody get injured, man, especially the way Tua did, but you have to think about it. We're going against Teddy Bridgewater.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we should be able to pull this one off as well. My thoughts, anyway. What do you guys think about that?
I agree. It's against Teddy. If Teddy is on, he'll be on. But I mean, it's just they have a lot of weapons and their defense is good. But from what I saw from Zach Wilson today, even though he did bad at times, he fought. He just kept fighting, and he was clutch. And Davis, and that's why I have the picture in the background of Davis and Wilson. Davis did really good today. I'm really happy for him. And Moore had a couple catches. I still need to work some stuff on the defense, and I hope Max Mitchell is okay. Hopefully, he's not out for the year. Come on, football gods! Yes. But it's just it looked ugly. Me and Harrison were talking about. We don't show the replay. Don't show the replay
of what with Max Mitchell.
Yeah, it was just
that was rough. Yeah, watching it. That's why I say watching it live and same thing. Like, I mean, I don't want to make fun of any reporters or anybody, but with Tua, you guys saw they put that image out of him with like. I don't know how you would explain it, but like, he had his fingers weird because he had the neurological I thought that was really fucked up. Like, if I could just, I hate to curse. I thought that was messed up. Like you put an image out of him, like literally in a moment of like potential brain damage of him.
Yes.
I thought that was crazy. See, not showing the replay of Max Mitchell. I know a couple of people put the image out and like, they were like, and like, I thought it was just fans. And I was like, oh wait, these are national reporters for like NFL Network. And I was like, okay, like I don't know how you guys think, but I just think that's crazy that they were putting specifically that image out of like it's not like and some people were making fun. They're like, oh, he's doing something weird with his hands. No, he's not. There's literally a brain injury.
Right. Yeah. Right.
His back locked up. And he's doing this. Like, you don't make fun of that.
I forgot one of the doctors said that. Again, I'm not a doctor, but he said it the way where, like, if you do that, that shows that there's a break in a connection, even if it's temporary, with the brain to the motor function. And that's
oh my God, dude, that's horrible.
I know, like, and everyone was like, "This could be it," and like, what could this be for him? And there's pictures of it out there, and like, I was surprised.
I'm sure you guys were too. I was watching the game live with my family, man, and when I saw it, I looked at my wife. I said, "This is not good." I said, "This is so not good, man." And the first thing that came to my mind, other than the initial hit, was they rushed this guy back to the game way too fast from the week before's game. That is it. And I looked at my wife and I said, "This is definitely going to be an issue for the NFL." That you just see it coming.
Oh no, it is. You heard right? They wound up firing the head doctor, like the neuroscience thing because. And they changed the rule. Apparently, I don't know the exact change, but now there's like a new where like if you have a certain kind of injury with the head, then you can't play the next week regardless now. Like it's like a new
protocol.
Right.
Yeah, a new protocol. The show, what'd you think about the offense? And then we'll go over defense for you, and then we'll talk about individual players. So what'd you think about the offense and defense?
The offense today, I felt like they could have delivered more in the first quarter, well, the first half. They didn't do as well as I expect them to do against this Pittsburgh defense today. But at the end of the day, they did good enough, to get the win by. I was very terrified when I saw Max Mitchell being injured, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm saying we just can't dodge McDermott, man.
Yeah, we were talking about that before, man.
I'm like,
Like,
we just
it's
can't
been
dodge this
rough
guy,
at
man.
offensive tackle.
Oh, God.
I'm like,
know,
surprisingly, I was like, oh my God, we shift AVT to left tackle. Wow, right? Put Herbig in. I'm like, okay, we can do this. Like, at this point, I'm like, this will work. This will work. Man, Max Mitchell goes down, and I just threw my hands up. I'm like, we just can't get a break, man. We cannot get a break, right? I love the fact that they implemented the run more today, even though the run wasn't dominant. I'm sure courtesy of Pittsburgh's discipline and the defense and the play caller. But yeah, I love the fact that we attempted to run the ball more than we have in the prior games. Far as Zach, I love Zach's confidence, man. I think no matter if he's playing like extremely bad or extremely good, like his confidence doesn't waver. I love that about Zach. So that's also a positive when you're looking for a guy to be your franchise quarterback. As far as the defense, what did I not like about the defense today? I'll be honest, I don't have any complaints about the defense today. We had pressure. I really don't. I really don't have any. Like, we had pressure. I don't like the fact that CJ Mosley, I think a couple times, like, really didn't take the right angle to secure the tackles. I didn't like that, especially coming from him. If they had Sherwood in the game or Nasruddin and they did those, that's like, okay, they're young, it happens. But a guy like CJ Mosley is a stud, man. You expect him to and I hate, to say it so loosely, but you almost expect him to make every tackle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just the presence that he has on that field. When you see him dress up and he's on the field, it's like, okay, I know if he's pursuing the ball, he's definitely going to make the tackle. So he had a few bad angles. I didn't like that. But overall, man, very, very pleased with the defense today. I feel like if the defense played today, had they played against the Bengals, we definitely would have lost. You know what I mean? Joyner, man. Oh my God, Joyner
where
today.
Did that come from?
Oh my God, dude. I was shocked. I'm like, this guy is playing ball. Right? What was the big pass breakup? Was that against Pickens for that long?
Yeah.
I think Pickens came across the opposite side of the field, and like he literally had Joyner burnt. And somehow, man, Joyner came back and got the had the PD, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, Joyner, okay, if you're gonna play like this, I'm okay with you starting. You know what I mean? And he just kept showing other big play after big play. What, he have like 2 interceptions, I think?
Yeah, no, he did. He had one at the end there too. Yeah, right, and Whitehead had one as well. Our safety had 3 picks.
Reed, of course, didn't give up any big plays. Sauce, of course, didn't give up any big plays. I mean, defensive line looked good. Q was making the middle collapse as always. I saw Carl Lawson in the backfield a lot today. Probably more so than I've ever seen him in the backfield as far as this season. I love that JJ got his first official sack by himself. He didn't have to split it. I literally jumped out the room. I'm like, JJ.
Let's go.
Right, man.
Are you a big fan of JJ too?
Oh my God, dude. Yes. So
I was one of the people, like, I was ready to even take him at 4. Like, I was he's that talented. Like, I was ready to take him there.
There were so there's a group on Facebook. God, was it Jets No Fly Zone, I believe. So before the draft, they were asking, like, who's your guys, right? And I was like, defensive end, man. After Aiden Hutchinson, I'm going with Jermaine Johnson. They were like, why? Are you crazy? You got Carl Loftus. You have Kayvon Thibodeau. And I was like, I like those guys. I wouldn't be disappointed if we ended up with Kayvon Thibodeau or Carl Loftus, but after Aiden Hutchinson, man, my clear decision was simply Jermaine Johnson.
Me too.
For one, we had trouble stopping the run last year. And looking at his college tape, man, this dude was a beast. Containing the edge and stopping the run.
You're the only other one to ever say that. Thank you.
Yes, dude.
Love you, bro. Thank you.
Yes. I was like,
I've been saying that nonstop. I literally been saying he was the best run-stopping edge rusher in this entire draft class.
Yes, and I agree.
Without a doubt, man.
And that's what I was mentioning to them. And I got so much. Oh, they were like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, "Okay, guys, just wait and see. Just wait and see." So I actually screenshotted. Exactly. I have receipts. So I screenshotted them, right? I screenshotted. I said, I'm not going to post them yet. I'm just going to simply wait until Jermaine develops more, maybe like mid-season. And then I'll look at the stats from like Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau, Karlaftis, and of course, JJ himself. And I'm just going to compare the notes, and I'm going to post it up, and I'm going to tag everybody that was in that chat that day, and I'm going to say, receipts. You still want Karlaftis over Jermaine Johnson?
Right.
Oh man, bro, I'm with you. Gino knows. I'm huge with the draft. I do a lot of draft eval myself, like my own personal takes on it. I had Jermaine high for a long time, like well before, to the point where people were telling me I was crazy for a long time. Like I had him at 3 behind him and Thibodeau for a while, and everyone's like, "You're out of your mind, you're crazy." And I was like, guys. If you look at Hutchinson, he's an amazing pure power rusher like Carl Lawson is. And if you look at Thibodeau, my thing with him is this guy's got a nonstop motor. Like he's a finesse dude. He's going to go around you and through. JJ was both. In my opinion, he was the most complete edge rusher in this entire draft. Like I would watch him blow offensive tackles, bull rush them into the quarterback while spinning, doing double spin moves to get a running back in the backfield like 5 yards back. Like this dude did everything to the point where right before the draft, I moved him up to number 2 over Thibodeau. And everyone's like, you're out of your mind. I had Aiden, him, and then Thib.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the thing. Like I've always wanted Sauce to be number 1. And I knew Joe D wasn't done. I wanted JJ so bad. I'm a huge JJ fan. And also I wanted it between Williams and Garrett Wilson. So I'm an Alabama guy and Williams is from St. Louis. So that would have been cool for me. Right. But if Williams was healthy, he would have gone over Garrett Wilson for the Jets, in my opinion. Because Garrett Wilson, Garrett, they're both freaks. They're both really good wide receivers. So I would have picked the best available there at wide receiver. But going to the defense, there was CJ disappointed me and Carl Lawson disappointed me.
Okay.
That hit.
Oh yes.
I had to go outside. I'm sorry, I had to go outside. I was so pissed. And I was like, okay, we could have been up by at least a touchdown or a field goal if they didn't do that, and have Kenny Pickett come in, right? If Kenny Pickett came in, even during that time, like we still would have been fine if they didn't have that penalty,
right?
And then even Trubisky would still probably been in the game too. But as we all know, they were calling for Pickett like nonstop during it, and me and my buddy were watching. We're like, Pickett's gonna come in. I just know it. Pickett's gonna come in. He was like, he's gonna be the next Tom Brady. I'm like, okay. So hold up. Pickett's really good. Okay, Pickett had a great college career. He's gonna be very good for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but like, no. Don't go that way yet.
But you were right, Gino, man. When he came in, the whole offense changed. The whole dynamic of that offense turned around. They look good. And our defense doesn't get enough credit for adapting to that change and continuing to apply pressure and continuing to shut him down. They picked Pickett off too. Right. And the thing about Pickett is, like, he just kept getting better the whole game went on. And then Zach Wilson, even though he had some really bad throws, drop passes, scrambling was kind of confusing what he was doing. But the thing about him, he just fought. He fought the whole entire thing. He didn't stop until 0-0-0. And that's what we want. We just want competitive. We just want to be competitive games because everybody wrote us off for this game. As usual. And even look at Miguel Fitzpatrick at the end of his game, the press conference, he was saying so much stuff about how, this is a losing team. Like, we're such the better team. We need to stop losing against losing teams. I'm like, okay, bro. Okay, hold up. Come on, just give us the props a little bit. Just a little bit. But what did you think about that?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, we have to change the narrative, and I think we're on the right path to doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you're going to be considered a losing team until you prove otherwise. And
agreed.
And I like that. I didn't hear that, so I'm glad you told me. I'm sure, after the last Sunday night game, I normally go to YouTube and catch all the post game interviews from multiple teams. Of course, I start on the Jets first, And so I'm glad you shared that with me because I was unaware of that. But I'm glad that he said that. Number one reason is because maybe that'll keep that fire underneath us. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
for the young guys. Like we beat these guys and they still don't respect us. So let's make Miami pay
yeah.
for it. You know what I mean?
Right, right,
So what do you think
right.
about it?
Yeah, but going back to Zach Wilson, because I know again I have a very different opinion on it. But you mentioned it before with the heart, the confidence. When they interviewed him at the end of the game, one thing he said was he feels like he has a bit of a different mentality this year. He said, "It's do
Ooh.
my job, give it everything I've got, and live to
Mhm.
play with the result." And that's what you have to do. You have to play the game. You can't be afraid that you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And that first interception, I get from our perspective, it was, it was not a good throw. But from Zach's perspective, in the pocket back there, you could not see the safety. It was completely blanketed. He took a risk. He took a throw. It was a bad read. It was definitely a bad read, but he admitted it was a bad read. The second one wasn't really his fault. I mentioned before, I thought he made some really, really good throws, accurate throws in tight windows. He stood his ground in the pocket even when it was collapsing. He scrambled out of the pocket at times. And like you said, Gino, he didn't run a lot, but he scrambled out of the pocket to try to make a play. And he tried a couple of times throwing it out of bounds, trying to make something happen, but again, not giving up and, playing, till that last minute. And that's the most important thing is we have to remember it's called Any Given Sunday for a reason, right? Any team. And that's the whole point. Any team can beat anybody at any point. Like you said, Show, the narrative doesn't change until you start winning. And you're not going to do that unless you believe, unless you're like we did in this game and the Browns game too, unless you're pushing to the last possible minute because you never know what's going to happen.
And not only that, it's everyone gives up too easily, right? But every time it's got to be 0-0-0 every time because like this, just like with the Browns game, just like with all the other games, except the Ravens, like we've always been in it, but penalties kept killing us. We would do these bonehead penalties. If we quit that, we could be more in this game. We could be more in this game. And I actually have a question for both of you. The running game. I think Michael Carter was off this week. He's been looking really good in the past, but Hall just was better. You could tell he just goes for it on the sides. He plugs it in the pocket. Like he's just the better back as of right now. But I still love Carter. What do you guys think about the running game?
I mean, I love Carter. Don't get me wrong, but man, Breece Hall is special. Like the best way to think, I mentioned you when we talked about it. The best way to think about Breece Hall, this was a running back that was supposed to go in the first round when you don't see running backs go in the first round anymore. Like Joe was legitimately, after trading up for JJ, he was ready to give it all up again to trade up again to get Breece Hall. He's a special talent, man. He really is. I love this kid. Like you look at what he did in college, it's unbelievable. His rushing numbers are out of this world. You're like, oh, he wasn't the best receiver, but it's because he didn't get that many opportunities. You look at him in the receiving game and he made some unbelievable one-handed catches. He's a good blocker. I think Show pointed it out before. The Steelers don't get enough appreciation in their run defense. That's something Mike Tomlin has always been good at. Mike Tomlin has always prided that defense on stopping the run. So, yeah, the running holes weren't there. And again, we got to remember, we got a makeshift offensive line. You got Frederick out there. You got Max isn't out there anymore. So you're trying to make something happen. And, hey, Breece Hall gets the game-winning touchdown.
Right.
I was always a Carter fan, man.
Me too.
But I have to agree with Harrison, man. That Breece Hall is a monster, man. I mean, he just is. He's, of course, we all know he's bigger than Carter, so he'll be able to take more of those bumps to keep going. Even though for Carter being so small, he often is like in top 10 in breaking tackles and missed tackles and things of that nature, which is also a positive. So the way I really look at our running back duo is I compare him to like Cleveland's running back with Chubb and Hunt.
Yeah,
like Hunt could be a starter anywhere.
That's a good comparison.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Hunt could be a starter anywhere. It's just Chubb just a little bit more starter quality than Hunt is. And I think it's the same thing with Breece Hall. And Breece is still a rookie. You know, can you imagine him in mid-season form or late season form? You know what I mean? Without barring any injuries. And then you'll really be able to compare the two, you know, in my eyes, a little better. But even like right now, you could see it. You could see that in this case that Breece would be the Chubb of the team and Carter would be our Hunt. And it's not a knock against Carter. I love Carter, man. I am a huge fan of Carter. But it's just you could tell that Hall is going to be that guy. You can just see it is all over him, man.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you, man. When we took Michael Carter last year in the 4th round, I couldn't believe he fell that far. Like I always felt, and I still, even though Javonte's killing it, I personally felt like Michael Carter might have been the better of those 2 running backs between him and Javonte Williams. Because if you looked at the numbers, Carter put up better numbers. He was ranked higher. His averages were better. I think it was just because he's, like you said, too small. Like people look at him, he's like, oh, he's only 200 pounds. But if you watch him play, he plays like Javonte did at 210, 212. So yeah, but Michael Carter is definitely underappreciated.
Very much so. Very much so.
And I think they'll both will earn their roles and be good eventually, in my opinion. I think it's going to be great to see them just keep getting better. Now, okay, let's talk about the tight ends. Like
the tight ends are, they're a little, especially Conklin. I don't get what's going on with him, man. He makes these great plays. He's had drops all season.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is Minnesota Viking fans, if you ask them, that was never really a problem of his in the past. Like he wasn't that guy making key drops. So
right.
What the hell is happening?
They got freaking Butterfingers or something.
My question, guys, what's going on with Uzomah, man?
Yeah, why are we
not getting the ball that much? It seems like he's just a blocker, is what it feels like.
Right. Yeah. I feel like he doesn't even dress out.
I mean, I see him, but it's only out there to check somebody. Like that's it. Like he's out there to hit somebody, which is good. I mean, it's always good to have blocking tight ends, but
right.
Yeah, it's not like he can't catch the ball.
Are you paying the guy that much money for him to block? You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, like Uzomah can play ball. Like, why are we not passing him the ball? It's crazy. It's crazy, man. And get the guy in rhythm just in case Conklin, becomes injured, which I hope he prays he doesn't. But get Uzomah some kind of reps, man, as far as catching the ball. So if something happens to Conklin, he'll have a little rhythm going. But my question mark is really with tight ends issue is Conklin with the fumbles. Glad he didn't fumble today. And Uzomah not playing or not, or at least not getting the ball or getting the ball thrown this way. So those are my 2 issues with the tight ends. So
and that second interception. I mean, it was a little high, but it hit you in the hands. You had your hands up, it hit you in the hands. If you're a tight end and it hits you in the hands, I don't care where it hits you. It's exactly. I don't blame Zach at all for that one. Like even if it was a little high, he should have had that. Like because he tipped it up. That's the only reason Minka got it.
Exactly. Well, it's just like, man, that was been our biggest drawback was our tight ends since Dustin Keller. So it's like, okay, we're all excited. We got these guys. We got 4 good tight ends, and they suck. They just suck right now. So hopefully,
it's crazy, man. Well, maybe we could see more Rucker. Yeah, give Rucker more opportunities.
Yeah, because Uzomah looked like a blocker out there every time. I think there's Zelba McDermott or something. I don't know. But at the same time, the O-line, Sean, I'm going to start with you. What do you think needs to change if Max Mitchell is going to be out? Because we have 3 ready coming this week. We have 3 guys coming this week that are back. You got Remmers, you got Cedric to choose from, and you have Dwayne Brown possibly coming back.
I don't know if Cedric's much of an option.
What's that?
I'll mention that. Cedric is – because our offensive line is as banged up as much as it is, people don't realize the bust that Cedric is.
Okay.
That's just my take.
Okay. All right.
My question is, do we move Brown to right tackle? Right? I couldn't imagine. I really can't imagine them moving AVT to right tackle. Right. So if you think about it, right?
I don't know.
In the offseason, we viewed AVT as the left guard. Right. So he moved from left guard, then went to right guard, and now he's going from right guard to left tackle. When Brown
do it all,
back,
man.
Do you move? Exactly.
You play everything. I didn't think he could play center, but now I'm like, shit, I don't even know. Like, maybe he can throw the ball.
Right. AVT drops back 5 steps.
Right. And then Barrios didn't even play that much. We saw him a couple times, and I'm like, we're paying him all this money. We can't get him going.
But when we saw him, man, he threw a great pass to Zach.
He could have ran it in for the touchdown, too.
He could have. I actually thought he was. Yeah. I actually thought he was going to run it.
I had a Mike.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't see the gritty from Zach. So
right.
I had a Mike White. Special moment, man. Special moment.
I had a Mike White flashback. From Cincinnati, I had a Mike White flashback.
Oh, my God, man.
On the offensive line, I get moving AVT, but I don't know if you remember, my whole take during the week was I'm like, okay, offensive line cohesioncy is like the most important thing. Like, I think, we talked about that. Like, you don't want to move your offensive linemen really around too much because they develop a chemistry with the guy to the left and to the right. And with Max, I mean, that right side was clicking. So my take was leave AVT. Yeah, so my take was leave AVT on the right. And I'll be honest, I wanted to see Grant Hermans play left tackle because I thought thought he played pretty good in the preseason, specifically in pass blocking. Like, he wasn't as great in run blocking, but I remember seeing him at left tackle, specifically pass blocking, and I was like, oh, made some good blocks, held his own a little bit. They elevated him, so I was like, that could be interesting. I thought he might potentially come in maybe instead of McDermott. I wasn't sure how they were going to roll that one, but right now McDermott did not look good, didn't look good at all. Like, he looked like his typical self. Yeah. So I don't know. Again, if Max can't go, my answer is Hermans, man. My answer is, hopefully Dwayne Brown's good. Dwayne Brown's going to be ready to go, but we don't know. So if Dwayne's ready, then that's an easy one. Dwayne Brown is one of the best tackles to ever play the game. So if Dwayne's that's
so Harrison, what would be your lineup if Brown is back? Where would you put Brown at?
It's tough. See, and again, it's just my craziness of it. I would move AVT back to right. I didn't like moving him in the first place because he was having a Pro Bowl year. You know what I mean?
God,
not that he wasn't good at left tackle. He was good today. He was good today. Yes, he was good, but he was having a Pro Bowl season. He was the best run blocking guard in the entire league. So I have issue again. I get moving him to the left side, but I don't know. I like the chemistry. I liked how he was playing there. Now that he is on the left. It's interesting now. I guess you could leave him there. You could leave him at left tackle. He played a good game. I don't know. See if Herbig maybe can continue. He had an okay game. He let a couple of pressures in, but he was also okay at times. Yeah. So maybe let him go and then maybe try Hermans at right tackle if Brown isn't ready. Or maybe if Brown is ready, maybe you're right. Put him at right tackle and leave AVT at left. It seems like we got a lot of options. It's going to be interesting to see who's healthy in the way they choose to do this.
Well, shout out to Joe Douglas for drafting AVT, man, because without that AVT draft, man, we'd be screwed right now. Yeah, we'd be screwed.
And Max Mitchell. Max is hurt right now, but shout out for drafting him too.
Yeah. Shout out to Joe Douglas in general.
Yeah, man. That's my guy.
And Nick Mangold. Nick Mangold said that to get.
Yeah, you told me that, man. You told me that yesterday.
The man, the myth, man.
Yes.
You listen to the man. You listen to the man. Shit.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
So guys, that's gonna be our show from the Postgame Show, Everything NYJ. We love you guys. You guys can shout whatever your socials you can do. Start with you, Harrison.
You guys know you can follow me on Twitter at New York Jets TF Media. You can find my YouTube channel. I would love if you guys could subscribe there. It's the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. I go live on Mondays. You guys can check me out tomorrow night. I'll be live on my show at 7 p.m. Going to give my takes and talk about, the Jets like I love to do. Love when you guys are in the comments. We chat it up. It's an awesome time. So please definitely tune in. I also, with work, it's tough, but I try to put content out through the week as well. But yeah, biggest thing, if you guys can find me on YouTube, it's the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast.
I already follow you, Harrison, so we're good.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
But yeah, guys, if you want to find me, I am also on Twitter, the same name, The Jet Show. Show without the W, and the same thing here on YouTube. I should be releasing a new video on Wednesday. I'll probably do a short recap tomorrow, but I should have it like a full-length video coming out Wednesday. So if you guys can give me a like or follow or just even a few views, man, if you like what you see, of course, follow me, and I give you great content as always. And thank you guys again.
I appreciate you guys. Enjoy your Victory Monday. Me and Liam will be back tomorrow night, and we're going to just go over the game and just our regular Mondays. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And you can also follow me, Italy Jet, on my socials as well. But guys, thanks for all the comments. Harrison, show. Appreciate you being on the show. We love you. More collabs in the future with all of us.
Absolutely.
You guys
absolutely
enjoy Victory Monday.